So, welcome to Beauty of Colors podcast, Gina. It is great to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. My name is Gina Cavalier. I have a company called The Liberated Healer, folks.
Okay. So, Gina, tell us a little bit about you and what started you on your writing journey.
Um, oh gosh, I've wanted to write since I was really little. And I had to go, I went out on my own when I was 14. So I basically have a ninth grade education, and I always had to work. So I never got to really go back to college. I always wanted to go to college. So I was kind of sad because I always had this thing that I was never going to become what I wanted to become, because everybody told me, you're not going to be able to achieve this. So I just kept at it so hard, and it was just a passion for me no matter what. And I really worked on teaching myself, grammar and everything else to get to the point where I could be a credible writer. And what happened is, when I healed my suicidal ideation, and I'd worked in the entertainment field for about 25 years, agents told me, don't write, just focus on your art. I would get really discouraged. But once I found my thing that I was so passionate about, and I had so much information and knowledge and kind of expertise in, it just flew out of me. Through my podcast, The Liberated Healer, I met a doctor who is a trauma-informed therapist, and something just kept telling me, ask her to write this book with you, ask her. And I just leaped and said, because I follow my intuition now constantly, I just leaped in and said, would you do this book with me about, help show people how to heal their suicidal ideation? And she just said yes. And she already had like 3 books with Random House. I mean, she's busy. And I was just so thrilled. And we wrote a proposal, and we got 4 contract offers. Boom. We chose to go with Swedenborg Foundation because they're a nonprofit, and they're going to help share the message to even people who can't afford the book. So I wanted it to be a nonprofit. I wanted anybody who wanted to heal suicidal ideation to have access to the book. So that went really great. That's coming out June 26th. And then 2 weeks ago, I had another publisher reach out to me and said, we really wanted your first book and we're bummed. So do you have another book in you? And I was like, absolutely. I already knew that I was going to write a second book. I actually am going to write at least 3, because I'm very connected to my guides and my purpose. And I pretty much know exactly what I need to get out into the world now, which makes it a lot easier. Those paths have opened for me through the healing work I've done by clearing all the cobwebs and the wounds and the trauma and the fears. I've been able to fall in love with myself and open my paths. And now things come to me more effortlessly because I'm on my purpose, and I've cleared my intuition. The right people, places, and things come to me so effortlessly now. I'm brilliant. And I'm also illustrating both books. I have 30 illustrations in the first book. And this second book is going to be neat because I'm going to illustrate how energy works. So if you're really depressed and you can't read, because when I was really depressed, I can't read. I didn't want to read anything. I can visually show you how energy works in your system and with the universe, and how we are all connected as a web. So I'm going to be basically illustrating how energy works in the book. So it'll be very unique in that way.
Okay. So the book that you're talking about it's an illustration. It's going to have pictures and stuff in there.
It'll be both. It's called a Handbook for the Living. So I'm going to be showing it's really for people who have short attention spans. So, here's what spirit looks like. Here's what the soul looks like. Here's what a blueprint of your life might look like. Here's how to find out. Here's how to clear out your heart if you're stuck. And I show you, it's going to be like a workbook too.
Okay.
These practices. And then I'll have illustrations in there too. So you can kind of see how things work, because there's only a few artists that I've seen that have been able to really capture how energy works through the body. And I think that especially if you have depression, it's interesting to know, or suicidal ideation, you need to know how beautiful all this energy is going through your body, and it actually helps lift you and say, wow, like I want to stay here. I want to work on this heart. I want to work on all this stuff, and I don't want to extinguish this energy. It's too precious.
So what do you mean by liberated healer? What do you mean by that?
Well, I live in California, so there's a lot of different kind of healers and different things, and practitioners. And you're the only person that's with you 24/7. So I started to get this vision, and it kind of came in through source that it picked the name for me. I didn't pick the name, but it's basically you have to create your own tool set to heal yourself on a continual basis. So you become liberated yourself and free from the pains and the wounds. You have to free yourself and become your own liberated healer for yourself. So I create content and books and documentaries about subject matters, but all in an effort to support people to do their own healing. Not saying that you can go to a healer here and there, or a doctor or a therapist here and there, but you go to therapist once a week. What are you going to do the other 24/7 if you're depressed or you're having struggles? You need to have a tool set that works for you, whether it's grounding or meditation or music therapy. It doesn't matter. What is your tool set? You need to literally imagine you have a tool set next to you that works for your own healing, and you pull out the tool you need when you need it. If you have anxiety or fears, or you're starting to go back into an old pattern, of accepting people treating you in a bad way, it's like, okay, what tool do I use here to create healthy boundaries? What tool do I use if I'm having anxiety to calm myself down? What, things like that. I use the tools constantly. Every minute I woke up, I know what works for me, because I wake up with anxiety every day still, because I have trauma, and it's in there so deep that, I might not ever release it 100%, but within 2 minutes, I can get it out of my system, because I know what works for me.
So you're talking more about a mental healing, not like physical.
I absolutely believe it's physical too, but it starts with mental. Back in the day, spirit was our number one tool. Native Americans, like, number one tool. You work on your spirit, and it will, they always say, as above, so below. So if you don't work with your spirit at all, and you're sick in this body, there's a reason, there's a connection. You need to work as above, so below. It actually is connected. I've been able to not only heal my suicidal ideation, but I had chronic fatigue syndrome, which was it's a virus. So it's very hard to heal out of your body. I've completely healed it, which I've spoken to people with it's called ME now. I've spoken to people that you can actually heal it, but actually looping in spirituality, and it didn't even have to be spirituality. It's energy. It's quantum physics running through your body. If you're sitting in the muck of darkness or negative emotions, your body is gonna really carry that with you. So it is it all correlates.
So you said that you're aiming to write 3 books. Have you the book that's coming out in June, is that your first book, or have you written the book already, or is it published? Have you had a published book already?
June, yeah, no, the first one's June 26th.
Okay.
That's the one through Swedenborg Foundation.
Okay.
Surviving Suicidal Ideation, from therapy to spirituality and the lived experience. And the reason why, and I co-authored it with Dr. Amelia Kelly, and I just knew that I wanted to get my lived experience, because I feel like people that are suffering from suicidal ideation, they need to see that another person has healed it out of themselves. Because even if you love your doctor, there's something in the back of their mind that says, do they really understand what I'm going through? And the thing is, like, I really can't understand what that person's going through. I have been that person who was staring down a path of, I want to exit this world, and I've healed that. I've healed it. I can't even think about it. I just start giggling. It's like, if I try to even think anything negative about myself, I'm like, that's the old you. That's not you anymore. And they need to know that. But it's such a big topic, and we want to save people's lives now. It's an epidemic. So I wanted a clinical person to come in and say, this might be why you're having these thoughts. And because we really need a 360 view to help people suffering. So
Okay.
I'm really excited that she came on.
So in the book is going to have your life experience and what you've been through life. Is the book going to contain this, or is it going to be just from the doctor's perspective, or it's going to be your perspective as well in kind of helping people with your story?
Yep, it's a big ball of soup, and it's been really kind of interesting to kind of make it flow correctly so it doesn't get overwhelming. But we've turned it into a basic workbook. So there's like a safety plan in there. So she'll explain a part of a therapeutic part. Then I will go into my story. I had to go into my story to just share some of my abusive childhood and maybe why I created those patterns of unworthiness. And why I created and then I married the person that was, I married the same person that was abusing me as a child in a way, how those patterns just keep continuing until you really put awareness and healing on them. And then I share my meditations and my techniques that I worked with spirit. So that's the spiritual part. But it's basically a workbook. And the thing is that 45% of people who commit suicide have gone to their doctor or primary care physician 1 month before they committed suicide without telling them. So the people hide it so deeply. It is something that we wanted people who didn't want to share it with anybody you could order the book and just start doing the workbook on your own, all by yourself. If you don't want to tell a single soul yet, you can actually sit and do the work by yourself.
So when the book comes out, are you going to kind of formulate like a group to come together to kind of talk about the book and kind of express themselves about how they feel? Or how can the listeners get in touch with you if that's something that they would like to talk to you about when the book comes out?
Yes, and thank you. So the liberatedhealer.com is right now where everything is going to be funneled through. I do have a YouTube channel with many content with speakers and different meditation techniques. And I also have programs on my website teaching the things that that are in the book, like grounding and running your energy and how to do color shifting and all that stuff. But I am formulating Suicidal Ideation Anonymous, which is going to act a lot like AA, but I'm having to get grants for that. So that's going to take a little while longer, but without the grants, I can't start, but I'm hoping that there's a lot of money out there. I'm hoping that it gets funneled in it and it will act like AA, but online where people go, Facebook has a couple groups. I mean, there's 1.2 million members in this one Facebook group. I mean, that's a lot of people that want to say, hey, I'm having a bad day. It's an epidemic. It's not small. And we need to have these, and you need to be able to log in somewhere and talk to people and not have to show your camera, not have to show your face, if anything should be anonymous. AA is already kind of, in the 50s, it was really kind of taboo. You didn't want to talk about your alcoholism. It's kind of, we've gotten out of that taboo, but suicidal ideation is still the #1 taboo thing in the entire world. And it's secretive. And so we want to bring it with levity and let people talk about this and share it without the fear of they're not be able to get jobs anymore, not be able, to be looked down upon because they're having a moment. We all have moments.
Yep, we do.
So why is this such a shocker? But we need to bring levity and normalize these conversations. We don't want to lose all these people. We lose one person every 11 minutes in the United States, and it's 911. So, but again, you can see my personality. We're not trying to bring in the dark. We're not trying to talk about the dark parts. We're just bringing levity. We got community support, people like you wanting to share the stories, doing the work, building communities. I love how the podcast world is blowing up, where all of a sudden we only had like 6 channels to listen to in the last 20 years. You know, now we're people like you and me, we have voices, we can build our own community, and we want to save our people. We want to surround them with love and say, we got you. We know that there's disconnection and there's discord in the world, but you know, we are a part of your team, and you can rely on us. And just kind of, that's the message.
Wow. Magnificent. Well put together, I must say. Do you have any last words for the listeners on how to find their life purpose?
Absolutely. Especially I always say, if you're struggling today, the best thing to do though is to just wait. This is from a Jordan Peterson quote, but just wait one more day. Just wait till tomorrow. Wait till tomorrow, because the energy usually shifts within 24 hours. So if you're really in a bad place, wait one more day, and then tomorrow, wait one more day. Once you clear these cobwebs of traumas or wounds, like I said before, literally these paths, which are like mini mountains, because conflict comes for all of us all the time, no matter what, right? It's going to come. So teaching yourself how to learn to deal with the conflict in calm ways, you will start to move through them quicker and faster. Because what happens is you go, uh-oh, a breakup is coming. Oh, I'm going to go down, or I'm going to lose my job. Oh, I'm going to go down. I can't take it. But what happens is you'll see the beauty, what the lessons were meant for your soul, that you are 100% unique and you are meant to be here, that you do have a purpose. That purpose will, once you release that, the light will shine on those paths that are meant for you. And there's a quote on my website that I love. The first part I wrote when I was 10 years old, and I didn't know why. And now I know why. And it's, you are the joy that nothing else is. Your soul is the most valuable thing you own. Take care of it.
Wow, what a great message, Gina. Well, thank you for being on Beauty of Colors podcast.
Thank you for having me. I love you guys so much.